I'm Eric Larson with Bridging the Gap, and we have two special guests here today. I have Coach John Judkins for the Utah Tech Trailblazers and Bella Lauaki from Utah Behavior Services. Today's episode is going to be geared around resiliency on and off the field, and let's just get started. So, can you just give a little quick introduction and tell us a little bit about you?
Am I go first?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, well, first one's court too. You said field. Court too. No, just teasing.
Court. Sorry,
I'm
court.
teasing you. I'm
You're
giving
good.
you a hard time. No, again, John Judkins been coaching for over 30 years. This is going into my 19th year here at Utah Tech, which was before Dixie State University and now Utah Tech Division I, which it used to be a junior college. It used to be a Division II, and now we're Division I. So it's a great opportunity to be here, and I love it.
That's awesome. And fun fact, Utah's winningest coach.
Yeah.
Over 600 wins.
Something like that. I don't know. I mean, the media and all those people know that stuff better than
Toot
I
your
do,
horn.
so-
That's pretty impressive.
So I just try to win every game I can. I know when I'm done coaching. I know when I'm all done and hanging out with my grandkids and stuff, I'll look back at that and see. But right now, it's just I don't even look at that. I just think about winning every game I can play and getting the best players and the best staff I can get.
Good. That's awesome. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Still.
Thank you.
That is amazing. Bella.
Yeah, I'm Bella Lauaki. I am the Director of HR here for Utah Behavior Services. I am a former student athlete at the University of Utah. Gotta say it, go Utes. Don't kill me, but go Utes.
Go Utes.
I was a catcher up on the softball team, originally from California. Been just competitive my whole life when I've been around sports, but love the team that I'm on with UTBS and excited to also get great recruits and have these big wins and hopefully stack up 600 like Coach over here to the left. But yeah, it's a little bit about me.
That's awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you guys for being here today. Here at Utah Behavior Services, we call this Bridging the Gap. And what that means is we bridge the gap for families and clients who need mental, behavioral, medical health services, or even special education services. And so we really believe that if you give your full effort, we can meet you in the middle and we can help bridge that gap for whatever struggle you may be facing. We build this upon some core principles and values that we like to believe in. There's 5 of them, from working as a team, maintaining excellence in care, resiliency, tenacity, and also working as a team. The one we want to hit on today, though, is going to be resiliency. On and off the court, what does resiliency look like to you?
That's a good question. I think it's different for everybody. Our theme this year for our team, we have a lot of new guys. We have 10 new players that came this year, which is crazy.
It's a new team.
Yeah, it's a whole new team. We normally get 4 or 5, but this year we had 10. The transfer portal is a big part now of college athletics. We lost 1 to that, but we had 6 guys graduate. 4 of them could have stayed and played with us 1 more year because of the COVID, but they got their degree and they decided to go maybe get an NLI deal or something like that. So it was unexpected to replace those many guys. So we started over, and so we as a staff sat down and talked about what we could do as a team and what we could do to build our foundation, or our culture, is what we kind of call it. And it was, the family, getting into the family, and also the other one was we called it Into the Storm. And so those are things that we're pushing forward to do. Into the Storm is one that we really hit. We have bracelets that we bought our guys. Unite as a family is the part of it. We are always going to keep that one with our staff and our team, but this year we're going to do the Into the Storm, meaning, it's funny how they talk about Into the Storm and different animals, and we had Mason Sawyer come, who's an ex-player of ours, talk, and he talked about a bison and a cow. And a bison, funny enough, that's our mascot, is the Trailblazers, and he gave a story about what a bison does when a storm comes. He goes right at it, and a cow does opposite. He runs away from it. And so we're trying to get that into our guys, because there's going to be struggles in life. There's going to be struggles in school. I mean, we have freshmen. When you have a lot of freshmen, getting away from home for the first time is tough. And so we're trying to teach them, like, hey, there's going to be tough times ahead of you. You can fight through it. You can do it. You can get through it. And the team, the family part of that, this is their family away from home. And so that's how we deal with resiliency. So we'll see how it turns out.
Okay. And as a former student athlete, Bella, what does resiliency mean to you, and how has that carried on with you since graduating?
I think John really hit it on the head. Like, when you are a student athlete, boy, does striking out feel like it's the end of the world, or boy, does, not being that first number to call right off the bench, it feels heavy, and sometimes you've got to have that bigger perspective of if it's other people's stories or things that might kind of zoom out the picture a little bit and realize that there is a bigger picture to it. And sometimes you got to strike out 7 times, but boy, if you hit 3, I'm a solid player and I'm going to the league, right? And so that's kind of where that perception provided for me as I was growing into the sport of softball, because it is a game of failure, very similar to baseball. But resilience is just that quick bounce back, that quick ability to realize that I've earned my black belt, I've earned the stripes on my jacket, and just because I lost that game, I'm not going to question myself as a player. I'm just going to get better. And I feel like sometimes individuals at certain moments of failure, they try to redo everything that they've ever done from A through Z, and that's not the case. You just swung at a bad pitch, or you didn't communicate early, or you weren't on time. There's no reason to change your outfit, change the way you talk, or change all those things. And so that resiliency of just keep moving forward, and just like Coach said, going into the storm and realizing that uncomfortableness, it's okay. Welcome it. That means something new is happening. And that's what you want, and that's the only way that growth is going to happen. I mean, we all have heard it before, right? Fail quickly. It's the only way that growth happens. Nobody really grows when they're constantly being successful.
Yeah.
They tend to grow when they fail, when they struck out, or their grades are in the toilet their freshman year, and that's how they grow. What things can be implemented to get them back. So that's that resiliency part for me.
Yeah, with us, basketball's a lot easier than baseball and softball. They strike out, they go sit on the bench for 9 more batters.
Yeah, 9 more.
We get the next play. I mean, we can't
Quick.
think about it that much. It's got to go. And so we always do say, hey, move on, next play. And we have an advantage of that because of how quick the basketball game is.
So, Coach, is there a time that you can think that just sticks out in your mind of when adversity has hit you or your team, and how did you help give those tools to your team? How did you teach them, or how did they utilize their resiliency?
Well, again, it's like she just said. It's like you just got to move on. But the one that pops out to my mind, it's a bad one. But
I love it.
No,
I want the bad one.
No, it was. It really crushed me. I mean, I'll tell you a couple of them. But one of them was we were still a junior college. I coached at Snow College for 16 years. We came down here to St. George to play Dixie State College at the time, and we were up by 1 point. And the winner of this goes back to Hutch, which is the junior college Final Four or Elite Eight. It's a big deal. So, and you have to win your comp or tournament to get there. It's not they don't take 64 teams like Division I. So, and so it's a big one. And we were up 1 with like 6 seconds to go. And I said, okay, let's not be heroes. Just play smart. Keep them in front of you. And they threw an incredible pass. A guy went to steal it and missed it. And the guy lays it in at the buzzer, and we lose. Just like that. And so now your season's over with, where you were right there, one stop, one missed shot, you're going. And that was tough. But to pull your guys together and say, hey, you tried hard, good job. It's a tough thing to do. But like she said, you got to have those experiences. And I look at Virginia, for example, a couple of years ago. They were 1 seed and lost to a 16 seed. It's never been done before until I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. They lost to a number 16 seed. Guess what happened next year? They won the national championship.
Really?
So
wow.
if I knew I'd lose like that, but knew the next year would be great, I would take that any day of the week. But that's kind of how you got to look at it. Is just like she said, is you're going to have failure, and that's where you grow and you learn more and you become better as a team. And we're going on the road a lot this year. And one thing I like about going on the road is it builds your team. You're together all the time. You're not, we were having study hall, and we're doing things, but we're together in a bus, driving, flying,
family.
whatever. Yeah, it's family, and that's where you get to know your team. That's where you kind of become tighter, and so we're going to do that as much as we can this first year of these new guys. Is we got to build a culture, we got to build this family up, we got to support each other, and there's going to be times that things go bad, but you got to move on to the next play and keep pushing and keep supporting each other.
But knowing that you got each other's backs.
Correct.
That's great. How do you feel like these lessons have helped yourself, your student athletes, off the court?
You want to answer that one?
Yeah.
There's a lot.
tough
Well,
one.
I kind of want to chime back in of how you said that your team is going to be out on the road a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I loved those moments. I mean, I probably loved it because my per diem, but I loved it. I loved it for other reasons too. But I think the biggest thing was like we get in rhythm with each other. You know, we're like all in the same rhythm. We're all in the same heartbeat. And when you got a team that's on a rhythm, boy, do they dance. Like they're just making things look simple. But that's why I'm like, oh, I miss those days. But in personal life, like outside of the court or outside of the field, it just adds that perspective, you know, and it kind of, I don't want to say it gets you ahead of maybe people who aren't athletes, because there are people that aren't athletes that are just as resilient, but ones that have been through it, they're kind of on that same path or thinking process, especially if you're working with them, because then it's not pulling teeth of trying to get them where you want them to go. They're kind of like, oh, I'm getting you, and kind of understanding that. And then in my personal life, resilience, and kind of a little bit, like this is obviously a little personal, but I was in an accident when I was 16 years old. I fell 35 feet. I tore my C1 vertebrae, fractured my lumbar, like punctured lung, and the doctors didn't think I was going to walk. And I'm over here like, when can I play softball again? And so, you know, and then Coach A up at the University of Utah saw me at a tournament. And then they came to my practice, and then next thing I know, I'm up at the U doing a visit, and I commit my sophomore year. And so that's where that piece came into my personal life, and it really stemmed from my coaches. Tony Rico, shout out Tony Rico back in California. But Tony, I mean, he would show up to my house every day, getting up out of that walker, rolling out of that bed, and doing small things. I'm over here like, how am I going to squat? How am I going to hit? Like, there's no way, but it was keep going, keep moving forward. No matter what that looks like. If it's crawling, keep moving forward.
I love that.
And that's just how that's affected me in my personal life. There's been some other trials, just like anybody else probably has experienced with their parents or, you know, with their grandparents hitting a certain age or whatever the case might be. But that's definitely a big one that kind of started from my personal
Having
life.
that grit and that know-how to just keep moving, keep going on, because in a world full of just negativity, and that's kind of, you know, it's such a fast-paced world where it's like you can get down on yourself really fast and really hard.
Yeah.
And to know that you're not lost, you're not alone, you can do it, having that grit to keep going and take that step is super important.
And figuring out that connection of that foundation, that cultural piece. So if it is, you know, the faith aspect for those that have that, or if it is the team family aspect, like having those things to always plug into, or if it is a goal, that's a team goal, because that light at the end of the tunnel just gets brighter the more that you believe in it and the more that you have that connection to it.
Yeah, a lot of people say things are impossible. Like, I don't know if they told you you couldn't walk, or you know, they say you can't do it, and that sometimes motivates people to prove them wrong. That, hey, I'm going to show you that I can do that. And I don't know what you went through, but I didn't have that. I hope I don't have any of those kind of things like that. But sometimes it wakes me up too. Is I want to win every game. And when I first got into coaching, I'd come home and I have these little kids who are 2, 3, 4, whatever. And they have no idea what just happened. They have no idea that I just lost a close game, or they have no idea. And they come and run and hug and jump on you, and it's like, man, this is what it's all about. You know what I mean? It makes you appreciate what you have. And a game, it's a game. It's a fun game to enjoy and do that. But sometimes you have to put what really matters in your life. And
it's important. I love you said that, because it's important to kind of put things in perspective of, you know, pain is temporary, but what's going to last forever, and where does our time and energy matter? I'm going to shift gears a little bit here. So I had talked about, initially we had brought up our values. And so you had mentioned you have 10 new players this season. Mm-hmm. What values do you look for in players when you're recruiting, or to be a part of that family unit and that team?
That's a good question. Again, culture is a big part of it. I mean, will they fit? Will they fit here
Right.
in St. George? I mean, it's a beautiful place. We bring people on campus, and that's the first thing they do. This place is unreal. They just don't know. You know, you can show pictures, you can tell them about it, but until they get here. So, but we look at, you know, are they student athletes first? You know, they gotta come here wanting to get their degree, wanting to get better. Otherwise, they're going to be 1 year and they're going to leave, and we don't really want that. And so that's the first thing, is more that the culture, what kind of family, what kind of student are they? Obviously, we look at their abilities. You know, are they good athletes? Can they, you know, the best athlete? But we look at those things too, and people don't understand that. We look at parents. You know, what is a parent going to be? You know, calling us every 5 minutes asking, you know, why is my kid not playing? What, you know, we look at a lot of things, a lot more than people think. It's not just roll the ball out and see a kid and say, oh, I want that kid. We do a lot of, you know, a lot of our research. I love winners too. You know, there's kids that just know how to win, and wherever they go, high school to AU to whatever, they're always winning. Those are the kind of guys that we like to look for as well. But you know, with this transfer portal and with all the stuff that's going on, we know that it's going to be hard to keep people. You have to recruit the kids you still have, not just to go get the ones you don't have. But you got to keep the ones on your team. And but I like what I see. I like the culture. I like the family atmosphere. I like how they get along. And again, it's early. And you know, like she said earlier, is, you know, these guys come in from high school or JUCOs and they were their stars. They were the best player on their team, and now they come here and they might have to sit the bench. And how they deal with that?
Yeah.
It's something tough.
Oh yeah.
And so, you know, we're trying to help that and encourage them to keep working harder, and there's a chance. And it's been fun. It's been hard, but it's something that I love to do as a coach.
So knowing what you know now, what would you tell new student athletes that are thinking or considering joining the Utah Tech program?
One, get good grades. You get, you know, and nowadays it's amazing. We were working a kid right now that's graduating in December. You know, I mean, he's almost got his his associate's degree already from college. It's amazing in the high school how they can get so far ahead now. You know, before they didn't have those kind of classes. And so we look at that, making sure we keep them eligible and keep that way. But good students are always one that we look at first. Then also the ability, you know, can they come in and can they play different positions? That's a thing for us that we look at a lot. We'd like, because, you know, you got to be able to play more than just the point guard, or just, you know, can you play the 2 and the 3, or can you? And those are some that jump out at us of, hey, this guy can play multiple positions. We want to keep him on the court. We're going to help him, you know, that way. And then just being a good student, around the community. That's big for this town. We try to do so much for this town, doing cleanups, to doing marathons, help with the marathon, whatever we can do, we want to help, because we know that that's our fan base. And we want them to know that this is a college town. We support them. We hope they can come out and support us as well. So it's a hard question to ask. What exactly are you looking for? Because there's a lot of different things in there. But those are kind of the main things that we look for in athletes.
Well, and there's a lot of factors that go into it, so it's hard to just say one particular or two particular things. So that's good. You guys do your homework. The parents. That's interesting. That's awesome that you do that, but I wouldn't have thought of that. You got any fun stories on that?
No, mine have been really good. You know, I've been really lucky that way. I really have. And you know, I look at these high school stuff and situation, and even here in this town of you know, I know I get it. I know I have kids that played. I had one that played softball as well, and you know, you want the best for your kid.
Yeah.
You want your kid to be happy, and you want your kid to play and all that, but you got to let the coaches coach. And, you know, and I think sometimes in high school, their kids aren't playing. They're the first one into the principal's door trying to make a change. And, you know, and that's sometimes
there's a difference between advocating for your child and enabling.
Yeah. And so, I mean, my kids went through that, and I say, go talk to your coach. Go talk to your coach. Why aren't you playing? Or what can you do better? Or what can you? That's what they should be doing, not the parents in there. And again, here, that's one thing I like about college over high school stuff is you don't get that.
Yeah.
You know, they're old enough, and if it does happen, that's the first thing I say. Hey, you're an adult. You need to, you know why you're not playing, But it's tough. It really is. But if you're recruiting a guy that's got a parent that's going to be in your ear all the time and they're the same ability, choose two players. I'm taking the one that's parents a little bit more supportive and behind you and understand. But I get it because you want the best for your kid. You really do.
Bella, how do you feel like the values-based recruiting, or how do you guys deal with recruitment on a values-based approach?
UTBS? Yeah. Before I dive into that, what he said about the parents,
Sorry.
softball, no, but like they hang out in the parking lot, recruiters, right? Because they want to see, are you carrying your bag or is your mom carrying your bag? You know what I mean?
Really?
Are you doing those things? Because just like he said, it's about the person. We can teach you how to hit ball. We can get you faster. We can change your diet and things like that. But if you're not a good teammate, it's going to set up the team to fail. But for UTBS wise, I think it's the same aspect. Looking for those people that, one, of course, have that foundation of love working with kids, have that patience, have that red thread of giving back to their community or their kiddos or their teammates or whatever the situation might be. But that's definitely a big value. But kind of going to go back to what Coach says, there's so many aspects because there's still the attention to detail. We provide healthcare services. And so the attention to making sure that the note is completed on time, not just engaging in the services, but being diligent with that detail, being on time, which is being early, everybody, not showing up on time, but doing those little things because it definitely stacks up. But in regards to recruiting, you always tend to kind of catch the vibe of the person during that interview process and the shadowing session because they jump in right off the gate to really see what it looks like. And we work with a vulnerable population of kiddos and families. And so it takes a very unique person to have that patience and work as a team to get them to that goal that they're needing treatment-wise.
So at Utah Behavior Services, we encourage our employees at all levels to have a growth mindset. So for both of you, can you tell me what having a growth mindset means to you and how you implement that or impact your teams or your players?
I'll let you go first on
this. Thanks, John. No, I think growth mindset goes back to what more can I do? Yeah. How can I get better? Like as a teammate, if you go to your coach, are you truly comfortable with them telling you that you're slow? Or are you going to get your feelings hurt? Because if you're going to come into that conversation and you want to get better full-heartedly, I'm telling you you're slow because I want you to get better. I'm not saying you're slow because I hate you, and I feel like that's where take out that emotion out of it. Like if you truly want to get better, boy, will we provide you all those details and resources on how to get better. But it's a two-way street. It takes two people to come to the table and take out that personal aspect and say, okay, if you really want this, here's that performance plan. Let's get you up on live because I want you to be successful. I want you to be happy. But personally, growth aspect, like I started as a behavior tech 5 years ago with Utah Behavior Services, and I'm the director of HR with my master's. And so there are many growth opportunities either on the clinical side or the operational side, but it takes somebody to drive it. Those resources are going to be there. The path might be there. And if you're hungry, we will feed you. Probably too much, but you'll get that. But it starts with you as a person. And it's okay to say, you know what, I want to be this position. I like my role on the bus. I want to keep this stability. That's totally fine. But communicating that as well. Because if I'm going to ride you to be a starting player, you better be able to take that. Because
show up.
Yeah.
That's what we do. The communication part's a big part of that. Us, film. Film, we love showing film because film never lies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I boxed out. Now let's go watch it. You did box out, all right? I did this or that. And so we break it down, show them, teach them. Win or lose, you gotta learn the mistakes that you made and fix them. I like what she said too about getting on them, about how they're slow or whatever. I tell my guys from the beginning, if I'm on you and I'm pushing you, it's because I care and I see something in you. If I ignore you and I don't talk to you, that's the ones you got to be worried about.
Yeah.
And sometimes they take it the other way around. They think, well, coach hates me. He's always on me. He's yelling. No, those are the ones that we feel got the potential that have that. They got to fight a little harder to get through it. And a lot of them understand that. Like we do film session. It's not that I'm trying to embarrass the guy. I'm just trying to make him more a team player or fix his weaknesses that he might have and stuff like that. But that's kind of exactly what we kind of try to do. But the communication's a big part. I always say my door's open. If there's a question, come talk to me. I don't, I'm not I want them to know where they stand, what their role is. And right now it's early, so we don't know who's starting, who's doing what and where until later on. But I want them to know their role and what I expect them to do. And then once they get that role, they know it, then their focus is better too as well.
That's great.
It's like squeezing the last drop of greatness out of them. You know, you've got those players that are like, oh, I'm rocking it. I'm a team lead. I'm going to be an intern. My notes are all the time. I'm like, let's squeeze the last drop of greatness out of you because I'm sure you got some more in there. You know, kind of just always pushing that forward and pushing that envelope, especially if you have a player that's willing and is hungry. It's cool to see what can happen because people can get comfortable, you know, and so, you know, being comfortable in that uncomfortableness of always wanting to get better and squeezing that last drop out.
That's good.
Yeah. Can you share, Coach, can you give us a specific example or a time at which you thought was a setback, but it led to a significant breakthrough or success for your team?
Well, again, like I said, those games you lose, there's quite a few that we've lost, you know, last play, last whatever. But then there's some that you turn around and you win. Kind of the karma situation. You know, I can remember back when we were D2 of, you know, we went to the Sweet 16, which was, for us, Division II is so different than Division I, but to make it to the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight in Division II is like the Final Four in Division I. It's a big deal. So, you know, I just remember of, you know, that team I had that went that far. You know, I didn't think on paper we were going to get there, but boy, they came together. And you said it before, getting hot. I mean, I look at the World Series this year. I mean, nobody would expect those two teams to be playing for a World Series, but they got hot. They got the groove. They believed. It all worked out. So there's not a specific one that jumps out, you know, at me. You know, like, well, we did this, and so I got to be able to do that. There's none of those like that. But again, when you lose some tough games, it really makes you work harder. What could I have done better? Anytime you lose, it's always like, why? You know, what happened? What could I have done better? And hopefully you'll learn from that. One of ours, I'll give you one example that we did, and it's big. Every coach has a different philosophy on it in basketball, and that is you're up three points. Do you foul or do you play it out? I'm a big believer in fouling. I don't think there's too many teams that practice missing a foul shot and getting an offensive rebound to win the game. I mean, your chances of losing are higher because if they do that, but I don't think teams work on that. So when we're up 3 with 10 seconds to go, we're going to foul. And in one game we didn't do that. We said, okay, let's just no threes, you know, switch everything, don't give them up a 3, and they came in. Guess what happened? They hit a 3. So they do practice half-court shots. They do practice 3-quarter or 35-foot shots. And so a kid hits one, we go to overtime, and we lose overtime. And I said, I'll never do that again.
Solidifies your decision.
Yep, I'm going to foul. And then ever since that, we've been fouling, and we've been doing that, and we've won every game that we've done that where we've fouled. And it's just something that helped me realize, you know, I got to go with my gut, and I didn't. And now it's like it changed everything for us.
So I want to kind of tie in the family aspect of this. I know you had briefly mentioned and talked about the parents. I want to ask, how do you feel the concept of resilience within your team applies to your student athletes and their families?
Ooh. You want to go on this one again? This is a tough one too. No, I mean, uniting the family. I mean, I tell them I treat them like they're my kid. I want to treat them fair. Somebody asked us, do you have a favorite child? Do you have a favorite player?
I love that question.
Yeah, it's a good question. No, we don't have a favorite child. No, we don't have a favorite player. But what I do have a favorite child. I do have a favorite child, by the way. I do have my boy is my favorite child because I only have one boy. So I have 3 girls and 1 boy. So he is my favorite boy. You know, but as a parent, you know, do you love one more than the other? No, but one maybe does things that you ask them to do right off the bat. You know, you ask them to clean their room, you ask them to do their chores, you ask them to get their homework done, you ask whatever it may be, do the dishes, and they do it. And so it becomes kind of like your, hey, this is kind of this guy or the girl or whoever, doesn't. That's the same with the team. Is, hey, do I have a favorite player? No, but I kind of do when I know that I ask that kid to do something and he does it, and he does it. Assignments to, hey, you got homework, bring me this to tomorrow. I need this done. I need this, and they do it. And then some, oh, I forgot, or they're late, or like those are things that when you have that question. I do have favorite players if you look at that way. The ones that do what you ask them to do, and they do it on time. They do the things that help build your team. But I treat them like my family. I'm not a big yeller, screamer, get in your face. That's how I at home. At home, I pull them aside. And I ask my kids this all the time. Why would you not come and tell me? Why didn't you tell me you got a ticket, or why didn't you tell me you had a little accident, in your car or whatever? Or you think I was gonna get mad at you? And the first thing that came to their mind, it's like, no, I'm not. I knew you wouldn't get mad at me. I just think I would have disappointed you. And I thought, well, okay, I don't want you to ever be scared of me or mad at me. I want you to be able to come talk to me and let's work it out. And that's what I tell my guys. It's like, hey, there's gonna be some tough times, and I want you to come talk to me. I'll do a lot I can to help you, but we gotta. It's a trust.
Yeah.
They gotta trust me, but I also gotta trust them. It's a two-way street.
I love how you've connected, and it shows resiliency doesn't just bleed. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's not just in one scenario. It's applicable to work, to school, to life, to relationships. I mean, yeah. Thank you.
Sorry, I went too long. You're
No,
not
you're
yet,
good.
John, you're rocking it.
No.
I guess as a student athlete, how do you feel that the concept of resilience while you were an athlete applied or bled into your professional life, your personal life?
Yeah. I always feel like I'm such like a philosophical person when I talk about these things, and sometimes I'm like, did it just go over that other person's head? But I love talking about it with people that I feel like are kind of catching what I'm throwing down. But every day, man, Eric, if I'm being honest, like what I do in a living, I look at behaviors. It's kind of no different when I'm, if I'm not catching, I'm watching that coach and seeing if I can pick his signs, and I can see the behavior of the pitcher when her elbow's going like this. I know she's going to throw a screwball. Now I'm here like 22, turn on it, like being able to examine the situation of the game, have the impact to change the course of the game. I love it. And I'm still doing that today with HR and people, right?
Yeah.
I've got a leader coming to me and maybe I'm consulting them of how to handle this with this employee. And I could say, did you ever think about maybe she might have some dirty laundry, as coaches call?
Yeah.
There might be some dirty laundry at home that you're smelling now, right? So there's probably something at the house that's not good that's causing them to perform maybe not as well as they should be. And 99% of the time, knock on wood, I'm right. And now they figure out, oh, you're right, Bella, like her mom just passed away. She just told us. I'm like, boom, take that time to slow it down.
Humanizes the
Yeah.
situation.
Exactly. But being a student athlete, resiliency every day, man, every day. It's not going to be easy. There's going to be lots of different people, different challenges that come up, whether if it's with me personally and my 2-year-old son who fell and got slices open. Like there's going to be so many different things, and all the boys we've got at the house on my husband's side. But it kind of just goes back to the fact of I'm a student of the game. No matter what game it is, I want to learn and I want to be a good teammate. Even if that's you starting, here's your water, hey, change this, and not taking it to, oh, you're playing before me. I don't care. There doesn't have to be a ball or bat in my hand, but I know I can impact that game. No different than being on HR. Not in every center. I don't see every clinical service hour that happens, but I know that if I do my job and do it well, I can impact their game. I can make sure that they feel, those resources, or they get their quarterly bonus, or their family's going through something and maybe we get them on FMLA for a second, or whatever the situation is. And so that's where I hope to always provide light to people if they can't find it themselves. And I've just kind of mastered it, if I'm being honest. And it's kind of like you said, it's just in my culture. You can see it when I walk. You can hear it when I talk. It's just who I am.
I love that, because then it brings in the perspective of resiliency from a leadership perspective. Because if you react to everything emotionally and you can't take in or be willing to listen, that really hinders your ability as a leader, I feel like, to do your team justice, to give them the benefit of the doubt. And that goes into that trust factor of, can you be vulnerable with your team as a leader? A lot of that plays into, I feel like, resiliency yourself. As you go through life, you take these lessons with you, and it's that ability to bounce back and to take what you've learned as, well, I'm not the victim. I'm going to learn from this situation, and how can I better myself, and how can I help improve others? And I feel like, talking to both of you, I mean, that's just what you emulate, is how can I rise all ships and help everybody else learn and grow? And you take that in with such pride and such humility, I feel like, and you apply that on the court and at home. And it's almost no different than, I look at these student athletes and I'm like, you're my kids, right?
And
So
it's
that's
contagious.
super powerful.
And he can tell you right away, if you got a teammate on that bench and he's being negative, or he can't wait to go to his date with his girlfriend that night, the whole team can feel it. You know? And so it's important to start with that trust, like Coach said, like, because that trust, so I can't call out that guy and say, hey, if that date is important to you, that date's important to me, but I need you to lock in, bro. I need you to lock in. That's what you're here for. And being able to be honest, like, that's not what we pay you to be here for. Like, for those kids that are on scholarship, there's a lot of players out there that would love that scholarship. No different to what we do. You know, there could be somebody that's been trying to find a job for so long. You know, how are you doing in your job right now? Because it is contagious. And having that trust aspect to correct it if needed. Because it's okay to be negative at times, and I get it. Maybe that date was super, super important for whatever reason, but got to reel it back in, man. Like, stay. We're going over here, and you're on this bus. Don't make this bus ride not fun. You know, let's go.
Yeah, we talk about that too, is toughness. That, hey, when you're in school, you're in school. You're thinking about what you got to do in school. Don't think about practice or a game or a girlfriend or a whatever it may be. You're in school to focus on school. When you walk on the court, I want you to forget about school, forget about the assignment or the test that you just flunked. You're focusing on basketball. But as soon as you walk off that court, then you're back into your school or back into your dating or whatever it may be. I think sometimes they're focused, they're thinking about other things, you know. I always laugh when someone said this, dude, when you're at church, do you wish you were playing golf, or when you're golfing, you think, oh, I should be at church. You know, so it kind of goes. And I like her point too is, and some coach said this, and it kind of hit home a little bit to me, is, what are you playing for? Are you playing for the name on the back of your jersey or the name on the front of your jersey? I love that. You know, and if you're playing for the name on the back, you're not going to be very successful. Yeah, you'll score a lot of points and you'll do a lot of things, but you're playing for the front of your jersey. And like you said, those teammates that have that negative, like you're talking about, you see those, but also you see the positive ones too on the bench. They're cheering and helping. And I tell my guys all the time, I see that. We watch film, we see that. And when there's an opportunity for me to get a kid in that is working hard and cheering and helping his teammates, I'm going to do everything I can to get that guy in, just because of what he's done on the bench and how he's motivated his team. He never wanted, like, oh, I hope he gets hurt, or I hope something happens so I could go play. You don't want those kind of guys
toxic,
on your team. It was
be
cancer.
present.
And John probably knows this, but the game knows. You know, the game knows your intention. The game knows how you walk when you step onto the court, right? Your teammates and everybody in the audience can see. And once again, it might go over some people's head, right? But like, the game knows. And I believe in that karma thing. Like, if I hustle and I do these things, the game will provide me an opportunity to clutch up, and I'm going to clutch up, right? And that happens. That's the way the universe works. So the game knows, you guys. So stop playing.
I got to get her on my team.
Let me know.
Well, we have a little gift here for you for your time. We just wanted to say thank you so much, and we appreciate you. And it's just one of our
it's on the front, right?
Utah
what's on
Behavior
the front
Services jerseys.
Not what's on the back. There you go.
Our values are on the back, and it's Team UTBS. So
we
just
I love it.
wanted to give that to you.
I love the colors.
Yeah.
And it's great how you said through the storm. We've been riding that for a minute too as UTBS, and we love it. But those jerseys are super awesome.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, real quick, you had mentioned involvement in the community, and so I just wanted to kind of bring up, Bella, how has UTBS been involved within the communities here?
Yeah. So one of the activities or campaigns that we do for our communities, we have one kicking off for December 1st, and that is our annual toy drive. For those that are in St. George, or if you're traveling away, please come join the December 9th basketball game against Idaho. The Trailblazers are going to take them out on the court, and I'm sure John will come out with a dub. But that is an opportunity for you guys to come donate some toys. The first 250 people to donate a toy will get a prize. And so we cannot see who shows up and all the donations we can get for our annual toy drive.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate our guests' time so much. Thank you. Really, it was a pleasure. And we'll see you guys next month. Thanks.